What a fucking clown. How you doing, no? The universe is endless. Yeah, look, I agree. It doesn't have a beginning and it doesn't have an end. But everything that we see here will come to an end one day. Satan doesn't exist. Satan is a fictional character. He's like the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin doesn't exist either. Like, none of this stuff is real. Like, that's what you people have to understand. None of this stuff is real. God's not real. Satan's not real. No one can prove there's ever a Satan. No one can prove a Satan exists. Yeah, exactly. Come back, Rebuke. I'm going to set up the StreamYard right now. If you really think that you've got what it takes, then we'll see. We will absolutely see. You'll have to be the only call, though. I wasn't going to do a live call-in show tonight, but because Rebuke thinks I'm scared of, scared of Christians who know things. Sure. We'll do the live stream then. We'll do the call-in show. God does not exist. God cannot exist. He's a logical contradiction. But if what's the name? Rebuked and whatever. There we go. Live call-in show. Okay, so the live call-in show will start at, so we'll do it for 8:40. The live call-in show will start at 8:40 tonight. Live porn show. I mean, if I was doing OnlyFans, sure. Sure it would be. Yeah, Rebuke. Alright, so Rebuke and Reprove. I'm starting not the live stream now, but I've just created the live stream. Yep, so it's called live call-in debate show. God is not good. Right? It's on my channel. It starts in about 10 minutes. Alright? If you really think you've got what it takes to answer these questions, then the pizza goes down and let the debate begin. It's going to be a debate between you and me. So Rebuke and Reprove. I'm going to put this pizza away because it's going to be on. Alright, so yeah, exactly. I'll be watching you. Alright, I'm going to start the live stream right now. I'm canceling this one and I'm jumping on that one straight away. Alright, so you want to do this? Let's do it.
5 minutes later.
Enable the camera. Alright, we are here. Alright, come on, Rebuke and Reprove. I'm here. You said to come. The link's in the description. Let's do it. Me and you. This will be the only debate I'll have tonight, but I will be doing these live streams more often. So, yeah. Come on, Rebuke and Reprove. Now the challenge is, you're saying that I'm... Oh, yuck. Sorry, it's only fluff. You're saying that I'm... no worries. How you doing, Indiana Cones? How you doing? Good job. What's happening? We kill each other. How you doing, Mohawk? How you doing, mate? Mohawk Mike. What's going on? What's going on? Black Hole Sun. Oh, shit. Rebuke and Reprove. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
I can absolutely hear you, mate.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Never had a bad day in my life. How about yourself?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've had some pretty bad days, but, you know, this is actually a pretty good night.
Okay, well, yeah, I was the one. Now it's morning time for me, and when you
good morning.
Yeah, well, good evening. When you were streaming yesterday, or it might have been a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
I was on my morning jog, and and you were speaking about prophecy.
Yeah,
and I wanted to hop in at that point, but I was wasn't able to because I wasn't home.
Yeah.
So if it's okay with you, I would like to answer your questions you had about Jesus's prophecy in Matthew 24.
Oh, you talk about the return of Christ.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Yep. that's absolutely fine. But I definitely will be pushing back as well. So just keep that in mind.
That's fine. For one, the statements that we are reading in Matthew 24 and Mark 30, everything in the entire discourse, including the final resurrection, the ultimate second coming, the text is not saying that everything must happen before 70 AD or within a generation. Rather, the argument is that Jesus, after the pattern that we see in the Old Testament, which is simply tell you what's going to happen tomorrow and tell you what's going to happen at the real end of everything. That's the pattern we see through Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. They always do that. They tell you what's going to happen tomorrow or next year or 5 years, the near future. And they tell you at the same time, in the same passage, what's going to happen in the ultimate end. Okay, so Jesus is doing exactly the same thing. The heir to the prophetic throne himself, the greatest prophet of them all. He is telling you what's going to happen in the near future within a generation. And this is also to tell you what's going to happen in the final end. So that's why you have, it seems as though that he's saying everything is going to be happening before 70 AD, when that's not the case. Only the judgment of Jerusalem, the destruction of Jerusalem, was prophesied to occur within a generation, not his second coming. That's to come later.
So just with that, which generation is he talking about? Because he says all things must come to pass in this generation.
Right. So when he says all things must come to pass,
Matthew 24:34.
Right. He's not referring to his second coming. He's referring to his coming in judgment. So the prophecy is twofold. It's like a candy cane. It's twofold. It's red and white intertwined. Yep.
How do you get that?
Well, I can cite you some scholarship on this. The coming in the clouds reference is always describing divine judgment, war, impending war. You're going to be destroyed. Your cities are going to be, your walls are going to be destroyed, total destruction, et cetera, et cetera. It's a bit of, so the coming in the clouds reference is God describing divine judgment upon Israel, literally. And that did happen in a generation.
Can I show you where that's simply not true?
Well, what's not true? The coming in the clouds reference?
Well, the coming in the clouds reference is, but the fact you're saying that it was just a judgment in Israel is completely untrue, because he says
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's intertwined. Both are true. It's a candy cane. Biblical prophecy is typological. It does both. It tells you what's going to happen soon. And Isaiah chapter 7 and 8, and what's going to happen in the far future, meaning ultimately Jesus would be born of a virgin, even though Matthew says, Isaiah 7 and 8, the woman there was not a virgin. That was an event that prophesied to happen immediately. In fact, in the next chapter, the baby was born. Isaiah had his son.
Isaiah 8:3, right?
Right, but yet Matthew says this was also prophesying about Jesus coming.
So my question to that is, how does Matthew get that from Ahaz's story?
Again, these are what scholars call typological prophecies. We believe they're led by the Spirit of God. Now, of course, an Orthodox Jew is going to say that's rubbish. Okay, he's going to reject the Matthew's Jewish interpretation because he's a non-believing Jew. So a believing Jew would look into the Old Testament and they would say, you know what? This was to fulfill Christ, and Jesus did the same thing.
I agree. Jesus did the same thing, and I agree that they did that a lot. They did pull from the Old Testament. But again, you mentioned fulfilled prophecy in Isaiah 7. Isaiah 7 is obviously about Ahaz. It's obviously about his going to be dethroned by Syria and the northern tribe of Israel, right? So basically it's going to be like they're going to replace him and they're going to put their own king in. And basically Ahaz didn't want to ask for a sign from the Lord, but Isaiah said, here's a sign. The woman is with child. How do you get that is going to be with child, but if the woman is already pregnant? And it gives you the...
Right, good point. How did...
And it all... Sorry, can I just do one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
And the indication also says that before the child knows good and evil, those two kings will be destroyed.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the fact that what mistake are you making? You're saying, how did I get it? No, sir.
How did Christians
Matthew get it? No.
Yeah.
Not how did Christians. How did Matthew, a Jew? Matthew is the one doing this, not us.
I didn't know Matthew wrote it.
He's the one. Okay, well, whoever wrote it, it's obviously was came from a Jewish person, someone who's familiar with the Old Testament. Okay,
I didn't know.
Well, we can assume safely that Matthew was a Jew and that he is right. He's read the Old Testament and he read Isaiah 7 and Isaiah 8. Can we assume that much safely?
Yeah, I'd say he didn't obviously read Isaiah 8.
Right.
He read Isaiah 7.
Right. So logically speaking, common sense dictates that he would have known that the child had already been born in Isaiah chapter 8.
Yeah, unless
you want me to believe that he didn't read a chapter later and was thinking, oh, this was about Jesus. No baby had been born yet.
What if he couldn't read Hebrew?
Okay, well, let's just be fair and honest, okay?
So he gets from the Septuagint. You do know that, right?
Right. He's writing. He's a Jew reading. Yeah. Okay, he's read the Old Testament. He knows that this prophecy has already been literally fulfilled in the birth of Mahashaphaha. I can't pronounce his name because it's 40 letters. Okay, that kid had a tough time. He had a tough time in kindergarten, didn't he? He definitely had a tough time in first grade. Spelling that name. All right, so Matthew already knows the child is born, correct? Yet he says this happened to fulfill Jesus's birth, typologically. So when you understand that the biblical Jesus and his disciples understood prophecy, if you understand how they understood prophecy, then it makes sense. Then Matthew 24 makes sense.
Yeah. So the
candy cane, not one thing.
Yeah. So the problem with that is if you can take a prophecy out of its original context, it just becomes a useless meaning now. Like I can just apply it to anything.
That's fine. But the problem is with that is you're now forcing your understanding of what prophecy is onto them. They in a Jewish context, Matthew was a Jew, they understood what prophecy was, and they had an understanding of prophecy that is different from yours.
Yeah, because obviously prophecies failed in the Old Testament.
Well, just because their understanding of prophecy is different than yours does not mean that it fails. If you're doing an internal critique and you're being honest with the text, then you have to take into consideration how they understood prophecy, not how you understand it today.
Okay, so being honest with the text, the word Alma does not mean virgin.
Matthew would have known that. Yet,
no, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have. No, he wouldn't have.
Matthew would. Matthew,
he read Greek.
A Jew in the first.
He read Greek.
Matthew, in the first century, a Jew would not have known that?
He read Greek.
Okay. Well, listen, if you want to if you want to appeal to absurdities, suggest that
I'm appealing to the Hebrew.
In the first century did not.
I'm appealing to the Hebrew.
Right. If you're right, you're assuming that Matthew didn't understand Hebrew.
He couldn't read Hebrew. He was a goof.
That's a huge assumption to make.
No, it's not, because if you think about it, the word virgin is not Alma. Hebrew.
He's speaking typologically. Typological prophecy.
But again,
do you know what typological prophecy is?
Refresh my memory.
Okay. Typological.
It's like typology,
prophecy, Typology, right? It's called. Does not have to have a one-to-one correspondence. For example, Jesus says that what happened to Jonah. Now, don't tell me Jesus wasn't a Jew. Now, and he didn't understand Hebrew either, right? Now, Jesus
he couldn't read the Hebrew.
Right.
I don't think he could.
Everybody was illiterate back then, right?
But I don't think he could read the Hebrew.
Jesus, who was a Jew,
Yep.
who understood Hebrew, we can safely assume. Again,
Yep.
you have to argue absurdities.
Yep.
Read the Old Testament and said, "You remember what happened? Remember what happened to Jonah? Not everything that happened to Jonah, not everything in Jonah's life, not his family life, but that part about him being swallowed by a whale, that happened to predict what would happen to me."
Yeah.
Typologically. Typological prophecy does not have to have every detail match the antitype. The type does not have to match the antitype in every single detail.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. Isaiah 7:14 says here, "Assuredly my sovereign will give you a sign. Nonetheless, look, the young woman is with child and is about to give birth to a son. Let her name him Emmanuel." How does Matthew get a virgin from that?
Well, again, Matthew says that the virgin birth of Jesus is the fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecy. He is speaking typologically rather than predictive fulfillment.
I get it. But if you take a prophecy out of its original context and you just fit it to any narrative, you can make it say whatever you want. I'm talking about context.
Right. That's called typology. You can reject it. You can reject.
Yeah, but you're making it say whatever you want then.
You can reject what Jesus and the apostles did, like an Orthodox Jew would. But that's what they believe is the case. And we believe they were led by the Spirit of God to do this. And this is what God actually is saying happened. That these events, Jonah being swallowed by a whale, was ordained by God to foreshadow his son being swallowed by the earth and rising himself from the dead. And in fact, Jesus says he calls it the sign of Jonah. It's like an omen. It's an omen almost. It doesn't work like a modern day prophecy, like you would see on the skeptic network or what do you call those people? The psychic network, excuse me. You would see there. It's not that type of prophecy. It's it's old Jewish, what we would call more like an omen.
Yeah. Yeah. So the problem with that is, why is Jesus an authority for? You're just asserting that Jesus is an authority, and you're asserting that Matthew got it right. But the original prophecy came from Isaiah, correct? And the fulfillment is in Isaiah 3. It's about Isaiah's son.
The original story came from Jonah. Yes,
I'm talking about Isaiah.
Right. I'm trying to show you that this is a pattern. They're doing this on purpose.
Yeah, but what makes Jesus authoritative?
Okay, well, now that's a good question. What makes Jesus authoritative?
Yeah.
Well, we believe that he vindicated his claim to deity and his claim to have the Old Testament. Jesus actually makes several claims about the Old Testament. He says that Moses wrote about him. How can and the Pharisees were just like you. They were saying, "Wait a minute, this guy is not even 50 years old. How is Moses writing about him?" So that's the claim that the disciples made. Well, why do we believe them? Well, Jesus vindicated his claims, all of them, by rising himself from the dead through the immutable historical fact of resurrection. So that's why we believe him and not someone else, not
I have a question.
Jewish rabbi from the 21st century.
Did the prophets of old rise people from the dead?
Through the power of God, but Jesus says, "I will rise myself from the dead." He says, "If you destroy my body, I will raise it up." Not God, not someone will pray to God and God will raise it, but I will raise it up, making himself equal with God.
Yeah.
Only God can raise people from the dead.
Yeah. Why did Jesus say that the Son can do nothing of his own?
Because the Son cannot do nothing of his own. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are united. They're one God. So if God is acting in the earth, whether it be creation or salvation, all three will play an important role in that feat or in that endeavor. For instance, when it comes to salvation, it's the Father who sends the Son. The Father selects who's to be saved, and then he sends the Son to gather the sheep, and then the Holy Spirit entered and dwells the believer once they're saved. So all three are playing a role, different roles, in the salvation of humans, which only belongs to Yahweh.
Is that in the New Testament?
That is in the New Testament, yes. The
Correct.
Father,
So let's
Son,
go
and
back
the
to the
Holy
old. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. What makes Jesus an authority? Well, you know what makes Jesus an authority? If he actually quotes from the Hebrew scriptures correctly. Would you say that's true? Would you say it makes Matthew an authority as well if he quotes from the Hebrew scriptures correctly with the right interpretation?
What is the right interpretation? Jesus is claiming to have
Context.
the interpretation. No.
Yeah. So
Well, context. Okay, so context will tell you what is happening in that moment, what is being prophesied in that moment. Jesus is claiming something different. Jesus is claiming that God, in his foreknowledge, allowed events to happen in the Old Testament, to foreshadow a greater escalation or greater historical correspondence in the far future. So Jesus is claiming something entirely different than just a literal fulfillment in the very next chapter, which you have in Isaiah's prophecy. Isaiah 7 was fulfilled in Isaiah 8, literally. Jesus is claiming something in addition to that. He's not denying the context, the historical relevance, Isaiah's son. He's not denying the fact that Isaiah had a son.
Matthew's taking it out of context. So
Matthew is not saying that. To say that he took it out of context would mean that he's claiming that Isaiah's wife is a virgin. He's not claiming Isaiah's wife is a virgin.
Then the word can't be virgin then.
He is saying, right, Isaiah's wife already had a child. This was her second or third child.
That's proof that the word can't be virgin. That's proof that the word can't be virgin then.
Well, Matthew is not saying that Isaiah's wife was a virgin.
So the word virgin's wrong then.
He is speaking typologically.
Yeah, so can I just
I've already
quickly
explained this. He's speaking.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Which means that every detail from Isaiah's prophecy does not have to match Jesus's life.
Yeah, so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Was Isaiah's wife a virgin, yes or no?
No. Matthew would have known that.
Okay, so then the word virgin clearly not in the text then.
Matthew is not saying that virgin should be in Isaiah.
He is saying that. He is saying that because he is. He's reading from the Greek Septuagint. He's reading from the Greek Septuagint.
I've already given you the argument, sir. He is purposely saying that Jesus typologically fills this prophecy, meaning, again, every detail from Isaiah's life, including the status of his wife, as far as her body count is concerned, is not going to be carried over in the fulfillment. It's not that difficult. Jesus does the same thing with Jonah. Everything in Jonah's life, including his family members, Jonah maybe even had a wife, is not going to be carried over in the fulfillment.
You're just making assertions, though.
Only the part where he's buried in the well. And Jesus was not even buried in a well. But you're making assertions about Isaiah 7. No, Matthew is the one that's doing this. We didn't.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, I'm asking you, if Isaiah's wife was not a virgin and she slept with the prophet and she gave birth to a son, the word and the terms cannot be virgin. That's
Matthew is not
incorrect.
Claiming that virgin should be in Isaiah 7.
Why do you use the word then?
He's not because Jesus was born of a virgin.
Yeah, but that's the wrong context.
That Isaiah's he's not using that context from Isaiah's prophecy. No,
he is.
He's only when Jesus. I gave you a simple example. When Jesus borrows from Jonah story, from Jonah's life, does he take every part of Jonah's life story and put it into his and say this is fulfilling me? Or does
that's
he
not a prophecy,
take
though.
that one? It's called typology, sir.
But it's not a prophecy, though. This is an actual prophecy.
Okay, all right, great. So you're going to take the side of liberal scholarship or critical scholarship and say, well, this isn't prophecy. Well,
it's not prophecy.
My response, okay, great. My response to you and the rest of critical scholarship is this. Great. Don't call it prophecy then. Call it typology, because that's really what it is. And that's what scholars call it. It's
it could be a type and shadow, but still it's not prophecy, though.
Great. So
it's not the same context of what we're talking about.
Don't call it prophecy then.
Yeah. So from Isaiah 7,
It's not Nostradamus. It's not that. That's not what
Yeah.
this is.
yeah. So from Isaiah 7, 10 to 16, how do you get Jesus in that? Where do you read Jesus into that?
Again, let me repeat my same argument. This is going to be a constant theme. You're going to keep going back to your straw man. Again,
No, it's not a straw man. So I'm actually asking from the text.
Yes, it is.
I'm asking from the text.
Okay, I'm just going to repeat myself again. I'm going to sound like a broken record, and you're going to get tired and give up eventually and kick me. We're not arguing, neither is Matthew, neither did Jesus. We're not arguing that every detail in the story of Isaiah or in the story of Jonah is matching Jesus's life or fulfillment.
It doesn't match it at all.
Okay.
So let me give you the actual.
That up. You can't prop that up as an objection when the original authors never intended for that to be the case. It would be one thing if they intended to match every detail and failed at it.
Then it has nothing to do with the prophecy.
Then you could say failed prophecy. But if they never intended to match every detail, then you don't have an argument of failed prophecy.
Well, I do. So, question: do you would you agree with me? Do you agree with me that the woman? Do you agree with me that the woman's already pregnant?
Well, you're not gonna skip out. What's the argument if they intentionally did this, knowing that the details didn't match? Only one detail matched. What's your argument against that? If this was intentional, there is none.
Well, it's fraudulent.
There is none. Right? You can only argue that. Oh, well, they shouldn't have done that.
No, I don't argue they shouldn't have done that. I argue from the text it's not textually sound. Let's agree to disagree.
They're not trying to be textually sound.
Let's agree on one thing.
But wait, if can we agree on? But if they're not trying to be textually sound on every detail, then how are you arguing that they're not textually sound on every detail?
Because they ripped it out of context.
Listen very carefully. Trying to take it in context. They were not attempted. That's not what typology is.
So they ripped it out of context and they just stuck it to this Jesus character.
Jesus did the same thing in his very first sermon. See, you got to read the text, sir. In his very first sermon, he does that.
What does he do then?
He walks into the temple.
Yep.
Grabs the Isaiah scroll, or he grabs the attendant, and he says, "Come here."
Yep.
And read one line in Isaiah. Not everything in Isaiah. This applies to me.
Out of context.
Out of context. Well, you can say that.
It is out of context.
Great.
Isaiah 60, 61 is out of context.
It was done on purpose. If I'm doing it on purpose, all you can argue is not failure. All you can argue is I don't like the way you did that.
No, it's not. I don't like the way you did.
You cannot argue that I failed.
It doesn't fulfill the prophecy.
Okay, you cannot. If I swung at the bat and I accomplished the goal of what I wanted to accomplish, you can't say I failed because I didn't accomplish it the way you think I should have accomplished it.
Or the way it's written.
You can only fail at a prophecy if I attempt to fulfill it in the way you think I should fulfill it, and then fail. They're fulfilling it in the way that they believe God led them to say it's fulfilled. Only one detail in the case of Isaiah, in the case of now some Christians do argue that there is more in Isaiah's prophecy about a ruling king that does apply to Jesus, but hasn't been fulfilled.
It does not.
That hasn't
apply.
That hasn't been fulfilled yet.
So it doesn't apply then.
And then we have the birthplace of Christ in Micah 5:2. So
again,
all of these prophecies,
no fulfillment.
Okay, great.
So the problem is,
so you're just going to continue to repeat the failed argument that not all.
No, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to understand what context means. Because Christians love taking things out of context.
You're arguing the absurdity that the apostles did not understand context. That they only read one part of Isaiah's prophecy and didn't realize that it was filled with other details. They ignored those details on purpose. And you're trying to use that as an argument that they ignored the details, therefore failure.
They ripped it out of context,
bro. That's weak.
No, it's not. So let's agree on let's go around something. Who's the prophecy to in Isaiah 7? Is it to
Matthew
Jesus
would
or
have known.
Ahaz?
Matthew would have known it was to Ahaz because Matthew was a Jew and he read the prophecy. Yet and still, he says it applies to Jesus.
Yeah. So assuredly my sovereign will give you a sign nonetheless. Look, the woman is with child. Is the woman already pregnant?
Of course. And she's already had children. Matthew would have known that. So we're just going to keep repeating the failed argument?
Well, it clearly doesn't even match.
It's
and
not
you can say
it's not.
You can say typology all you want.
Okay, well then look, that's the answer.
No, it's not, because people can fulfill any other way they want then.
Hey, we believe that the apostles were led by the Spirit of God to do this, starting with Jesus, who taught them to do this. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Paul, Peter, all of them do this. They all do this with the Old Testament after the pattern Jesus taught them. Now, if you want to come along later and say, as an Orthodox Jew in the 21st century, and say a Rabbi Singer, no, they shouldn't have done that. Fine. We believe they were led of God to do this. It's not an argument to say, oh, they left out some details, therefore wrong. That's not an argument. They knew those details were there. They left them out on purpose because they believe, yes.
Okay,
obviously,
so why
it's obvious they did.
Why does Septuagint say virgin and the Hebrew text says young woman?
You're going to keep going back to the failed argument.
No. I'm asking you a question.
Matthew already knew that Isaiah.
He couldn't read Hebrew.
Was not. Oh, now he couldn't read Hebrew. Gotcha.
He was reading the Septuagint.
So you're forced to go back to the absurdity that Matthew did not understand Hebrew. Jesus did not understand Hebrew. John did not understand Hebrew. No one understood Hebrew except for Rabbi Singer. Rabbi Singer.
I'm not getting an argument from Rabbi Singer, but let me tell you something. Why does the
21st century Jewish rabbis?
Why does the Septuagint say virgin and the Hebrew says young woman? Now let me ask you something. Do you think Matthew knew that the Hebrew said young woman?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Why didn't he use it then?
More than likely, yes. It's an absurdity.
Okay, so if he was a Hebrew,
to suggest that he didn't.
So if he was a Hebrew, he would have used the word alma and he would have translated that as young woman.
No.
Yep.
No, because he was speaking of Jesus now typologically. So let me just
but the word typology it doesn't change the fact that the word means young woman.
Right. Let me educate you on what typology is a little bit.
I know what typology is. I used to talk about it all the time.
Okay. So typology, there is a corresponding event, but an escalation. So if she were a young maiden, the escalation would be virgin, right? If it were a child that is born, God with us, Emmanuel, the escalation would be God with us, born with us. Okay, there is an escalation, spiritual escalation, right? Jesus' birth is prophetic in Isaiah, not in every instance. That's typological prophecy. If you're going to argue it's not every detail, it's not there, then you're just propping up. I don't know. It's a non-starter. I've already told you that that's what they intended to do. Only take a few details. They didn't intend to take every detail.
I get what you're saying, but the thing is, the word alma means young woman.
Okay.
So even if you want to go typology,
yes, and Matthew would have known that.
Yeah. So that means Matthew's blatantly taking it out of context. Then
he's not trying to be in context of the whole.
Okay, so he took it out of context then. So he basically ruins the original.
If you wanna conclude that Matthew, Jesus, Paul, Peter,
I'm talking about Matthew now. We'll get to the rest.
All of them did this, but all of them did this. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's why the Bible's fiction.
If you want to, okay, great. If you want to conclude that they took the Old Testament out of context, great. We agree. It's called typology. You're not.
So you agree it's out of context?
You could, yes, because the events in the lives of these stories, the people themselves may not have even known that they were prophesying about Jesus. Jonah didn't know he was prophesying about Jesus's death, burial, and resurrection. All he knew was that God told him to go to Nineveh. He said no, and then he wound up in the belly of a fish. He didn't
Jesus
know.
is nowhere in the Old Testament. That's
He didn't
complete
know.
nutter. That's a New Testament fabrication. You have to read from the New
Okay.
Testament into the
I
Old
will accept
Testament.
it. Listen, I will accept you saying that about the apostles, but
I have a question.
what I get upset is when you and critical scholarship say that Christians are doing this. Christians are not doing
They
this.
absolutely are doing this.
No, they are not.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you
Luke,
why?
I just showed you Matthew,
I
Mark,
know
Luke, and Jesus
what the
doing
book
it.
says.
So why
I know
are
what
you
the book
saying
says.
Okay, why do you keep saying Christians are doing this, trying to make it seem like it's some nefarious, underhanded type of way of interpreting the scripture when it's Jesus clearly doing this? When
Jesus
it's
didn't do it.
Supposedly
Matthew did it.
Jesus did it with Jonah. He only took one part of Jonah's life. He cherry picked, if you will. He cherry picked
it's
one
cherry picking.
event. Yes, he cherry picked one event. Jesus did this, not Christians. So be more straightforward in your conversations going forward with Christians and say,
Was
hey,
Matthew a Christian?
I know it's not your fault, guys, but this is what Matthew did. This is what Jesus did. Why do you think they did that? That's more honest. Don't try to blame it on Christians. Christians read the Old Testament into the New Testament. No,
They do.
Jesus did
They
that.
do.
Jesus did
No,
that.
you guys
Stay with
read
me.
the Old Testament into
No.
the New Testament, and you
Jesus
fail to
did
do
that.
it even in context.
Jesus did that with Jonah. I just showed you 2 examples.
What I'm saying to you is Jonah has nothing to do with Jesus.
Why do you keep saying Christians are doing this when all we're doing is
Because you're doing it now.
No, Jesus. I'm showing you Jesus did it.
Irrelevant to what
I
Jesus
didn't come up with that. I didn't come up with Micah 5:2. Matthew did that. I didn't come up with Isaiah. Jesus fulfills Isaiah 7. Matthew did that. I didn't come up with Jesus fulfilling Isaiah 63. Jesus did that. That was his first sermon. He walks into the temple, grabs Isaiah scroll, and reads a couple of lines and says, "This applies to me today."
I know.
That's
Out of
not
context.
my fault. Why are you blaming
it is-
Christians for that?
If you're the ones that are pushing it as true, then yeah, you're basically supporting the lie.
We're supporting it. Yes, we are
The lie.
supporting.
You're supporting out of context scriptures.
Thank you. That is more honest. We are supporting what when Matthew says, when Jesus says, when John says, this happened to fulfill Christ. We are supporting that. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying he didn't fulfill it. I'm saying in the original context, it is not fulfilled. I'm saying in the original context.
You're going back to your vomit.
No, so listen. No. Shush. Listen here.
You're just going to keep going back to the failed argument.
No, it's not a failed argument because Matthew says it's a fulfilled prophecy. Ready? I can tell you now, he deliberately takes out of context. See, now this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the law by the prophet saying, oh, hang on a minute, it's a fulfilled prophecy. Well, we clearly know that's not the case.
This is what you're doing. This is analogous to what you're doing. I'm only attempting to swing once at the baseball, and that is my intention. I'm not trying to swing 3 times. You're coming along later and saying, you didn't swing 3 times. You're wrong. You didn't swing 3 times. And I'm screaming like, dude, I never attempted to swing 3 times. My plan was to only swing once. But you're supposed to swing 3 times in baseball. You're supposed to swing 3 times. No, but sir, my purpose here is to only swing once. So it's not an argument that you failed because you didn't swing 3 times. The prophecies, the typological prophecies, are only designed to scream or to swing once. It's not an argument. It's not an argument to suggest then, after the fact, that they failed because they did not get all of the details.
It's out of context, though. It's completely out of context. And even though we know it's out of context.
You're just going to keep repeating it. Out of context.
No.
It's not.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
3 swings. That's not an argument.
I get what you're saying. But I'm asking you, how does Matthew get that in? What I'm trying to get you to see is Matthew completely took it out of context. Therefore, anything that can be taken out of context has no value anymore because you've ripped it from its original context.
That's fine. That's not an argument. They stripped it from its original context on purpose because they were led of God to teach that these events, not everything that happened in Isaiah's life, not everything that happened in Jonah's life, not everything that happened in David's life, but that these events were to predict or specifically be fulfilled in Christ.
Yeah, but it wasn't though.
Just like in Micah 5:2,
But it wasn't.
the part that's specifically fulfilled with Christ is the birth of Christ in Bethlehem.
So what? He was the only baby born in Bethlehem.
Not the rest of the whatever
but
happened.
he was the only baby born in Bethlehem, was he?
Was he not the only? No, he wasn't the only baby born in
So why couldn't every other baby fulfill that as well?
Yeah, they could, but then they would have to fit all the rest of the prophecies as well.
There you go. Gotcha. Absolutely gotcha.
No, you didn't. They'd have to fit the Jonah prophecy.
Gotcha.
Let me explain what that means and see if it's still a gotcha moment.
Gotcha. Absolutely gotcha.
Yeah, let me respond to that and see if it's an actual gotcha moment. Yeah, can I respond to that?
Yeah, go for it. Gotcha.
Yeah, can I respond to that so we can see if it's an actual gotcha moment? Okay, so they would have to also fulfill the Jonah prophecy. They would have to also fulfill the virgin birth prophecy. So they would have to fit all of the prophecies, not just one. All of the typology, not just one typology. So you can't say, well, I was born in Bethlehem, therefore you also will have to fit the ancestry prophecies. You would have to come from the line of David. Those prophecies would have to be for me to consider you to be the Messiah. Now, if you want to believe in someone as Messiah because they were born in Bethlehem and you think that's enough, then that's fine. You can go ahead and believe that person is Messiah.
So back to what I was saying again. You just proved my point. I said there could have been many babies born in Bethlehem that could have fulfilled that at the time. And then you said they had to fulfill the conditions. Interesting you said that for that one.
All of the typology, yes.
No, all the typology. No, not all the time.
That was my argument, sir. That was my response. You're going to straw man it too? You're going to straw man my response?
It was not a straw man because you said they had to fulfill it, right?
They had to fulfill all of the typology, all of them. Micah, Isaiah.
Who said it's typology?
All of them.
Who says typology then?
They would have had to fulfill the Jonah prophecy as well.
Yeah, but who said Jonah's a prophecy?
Typology. Jesus did.
Yeah, so again.
Christians don't argue with Jesus. You do. You can.
Are you saying the conditions have to be met, yes or no?
Typological prophecies, yes. You can't just take one typological prophecy and say, oh, I was born in Bethlehem. All of them fit Jesus. In fact,
yeah, but why can't any baby that was born in Bethlehem fulfill that specific prophecy?
Because they do fulfill that specific prophecy.
Okay, cool. So then they're all the Messiah then.
But to be Messiah, you have to fulfill all the typology, not just one.
No, actually, no. To be the Messiah, you have to fulfill messianic prophecy.
Typology, yeah.
No. Messianic prophecy.
Messianic prophecy is primarily typology.
No, it's not.
To be honest with you. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
Isaiah 53 already happened. Typology is reaching back. God, are you not paying attention to what's going on?
No, I'm paying attention.
Typology is reaching back and looking at real historical events that already happened and saying, look, that happened. Jonah was swallowed by a whale to predict what would happen to Jesus being swallowed.
Yeah, not true.
Earth.
What would someone have to do to fulfill the messianic prophecy?
Again, you can reject it.
What would someone have to do to fulfill messianic prophecy?
What it is. Don't misrepresent what it is because you don't believe it.
What would someone have to do to fulfill messianic prophecy?
Don't misrepresent what type.
You said he was the Messiah, correct?
Because you disagree with it.
Do you believe Jesus is the Messiah?
Disagree with it.
Do you believe Jesus is the Messiah? Yes or no?
Of course.
Okay, so does he have to fulfill messianic prophecies in their Jewish context? Yes or no?
In the Jewish context, you're adding, sir, nice try. Do you think I was born yesterday? What is a Jewish context?
The original context it was written in.
Jew. Jesus was a Jew.
Correct.
Paul was a Jew.
Paul
So
wasn't
what
a
are you
Jew.
talking about a Jewish context? You're trying to slide in your straw man. You're trying to prop up your straw man.
No.
You try to redefine
No.
typological prophecy to something
No.
it's not in order to defeat it.
No. So the thing is, typological prophecy is nonsense because it takes a prophecy out of its original context. It takes a prophecy out of its original context and just slaps it like a cut and paste.
Thank you. I want to thank you personally for being honest. And that is what the disciples did. And we believe them over you or Rabbi Singer.
Yeah, but irrelevant. I believe the Hebrew scriptures that are written by God. Were the Hebrew scriptures written by God himself or not? Were the Hebrew scriptures written by God, yes or no?
Are you a Jew? You believe the Hebrew scriptures now. I'm glad
I believe the Hebrew scriptures.
I converted you to Judaism. Thank you. Well, I can't thank the God of Judaism because it's a false God. But yes, the Hebrews wrote the Old Testament.
Did God have his hand in it?
Yes, God is the author of the entire Bible. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when God gives prophecy about the Messiah, do you think he's doing typology or do you think he's being specific?
Both. He does both. According to
That's not an answer. The answer is he specific or not? Because the prophecies are pretty specific.
Okay, so you're conflating being specific with typology. Typology.
Let's go through a prophecy.
Hold on. Typology is specifically fulfilled, but only with a certain amount of details, not everything. So it is being specifically fulfilled, but only certain details. When Jesus again says that Jonah prophesied about him, he is not saying, he's saying what happened to Jonah prophesied about him, what would happen to him. He's not saying everything that happened to Jonah will happen to me, and therefore that's going to prove that this is a prophecy. He is only taking one story of Jonah, one part, the more popular story of him being swallowed by a whale. Jesus never said no to God when God told him to go preach like Jonah. He never said, no, I'm not going to. That part of the prophecy, that part of the story is not taken. It's not said to be fulfilled in Christ. Only the part where Jonah was swallowed by the whale.
Yeah, so I got a question for you.
Did you not know?
I know you want to try and hold on to typology, but we're gonna test that, right?
You can't test it if you're rejecting it. You're
you can.
rejecting it.
No, you can.
Test.
No, you can. You can because again
by trying to make it something it's not. You're trying to make it. You're trying to make
it. So here we go. So what is Isaiah 7:14 accurately predicting?
Isaiah 7:14 is directly predicting the birth of Bel-Hashapahaz in the very next chapter that is literally fulfilled. Matthew, knowing this,
I don't want to hear what Matthew said. Matthew said. Okay, I want to know what Isaiah says.
Then the debate is over.
No, it's not. No, because we're going to argue. We're going to talk about context. So, is the birth of the child in is the birth of Isaiah's child in his own time or 700 years later?
You're beating a dead horse.
No. I asked you a question.
Already knew this.
I'm not asking about Matthew. I'm asking about Isaiah.
I've already answered this question.
No, you haven't.
Yes.
So is the without Matthew? Without Matthew, we're not running to Matthew.
Next chapter. Yes.
Yes. So is that a child 700 years later, or is that a child
700
in Isaiah's time?
700 years later, after
I asked you a question.
We just confirmed.
I asked you a question.
I'm answering your question.
I don't want two answers. Later, I want the answer of the context.
I'm trying to answer your question.
I don't want Matthew.
Okay, you're not going to.
I don't want to hear Matthew. I want to hear what it actually says in the actual text itself.
You're stuck, buddy.
I'm not stuck.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Why you're going back in circles?
I'm stuck on context.
Failed argument.
I'm stuck on context. Is the context Isaiah's son? Yes or no?
You're finished.
Is the context Isaiah's son? Yes or no? In Isaiah 7:14.
Isaiah 7:14 again is directly fulfilled in Isaiah 8. Isaiah did have a son. That was fulfilled. You're finished.
Okay, so that's the context then.
You're finished.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Matthew says. It doesn't matter what Matthew says because Matthew rips out of context.
Thank you for being honest and saying it doesn't matter what Matthew said.
It doesn't.
Now,
because the context doesn't allow it.
In future conversations, my friends, in future conversations, I want you to be that honest.
The context doesn't allow it. No, Christians are guilty of this. Christians are guilty of this.
Don't accuse the Christian.
Christians are guilty. Christians are guilty. Christians are guilty.
Matthew did it.
Yeah, but Christians push it.
Who existed first, Matthew or Christians? We
don't even know who Matthew was.
Let's move on. Do you have any other questions? I was just okay. So going forward, when you were speaking to
but hang on a minute. No, hang on a minute. You said You said they're fulfilled. No, you said that they're filled in typology. Correct?
Who existed before?
I don't care who existed before. I'm asking you.
Or Matthew?
I'm not asking Matthew. I'm asking you, who's pushing this narrative right now. You.
If Matthew was wrong, Matthew was wrong. That's fine. That's your opinion.
That's not my opinion. What you're trying to do is you're trying to chalk it out to being my opinion, but I'm going by context.
It is your opinion.
It's not my opinion.
Your opinion. Okay, let me steal man your
I can prove to you.
Your opinion. No. I agree. You can prove that. Your opinion.
I can prove it's not my opinion.
Listen, I'm not saying that's your opinion. Listen.
You just said it was my opinion.
I'm showing you what your opinion is. Your opinion is that they should have done it that way. I'm telling you that they purposely did not do it that way.
So it's unfulfilled then.
You're saying, in my opinion, prophecy should look this way, and it's
No, I'm not saying no. That's wrong.
So what is prophecy?
Prophecy is future foretelling of events.
Okay, and are they futurely? Is Matthew foretelling a future event?
Nope.
Okay, so this isn't prophecy, genius. This is typology.
You're saying it's a fulfillment, genius.
It's typology.
You're saying it's a fulfillment, you genius.
Right. It's fulfilled typologically.
That's not the context, so it cannot be fulfilled. So it's called It's called a false prophecy.
You're arguing a straw man.
I'm not arguing a straw man.
We're not arguing that typology is a one-to-one contextual correspondence.
What I'm saying is it's a false prophecy, so it doesn't matter.
You're done.
No, I'm not done.
Yes.
How am I done?
You're arguing a straw man. You're saying.
I like how you grandstand your own argument. You've had no valid points.
Arguing a straw man. You're saying prophecy should look like X, and because
you've had no valid points,
and because this prophecy doesn't look like X, it's a failed prophecy.
You've had no valid points all night. All you're doing is using typology.
What is
all you're doing is.
All right, let's see if you learned anything. What is typology?
I know what typology is.
What is it? Tell us what it is.
You cut and paste something out of context.
Thank you. Okay, so did Matthew purposely do this?
Matthew was a fucking goofball. That's why he did it.
Okay, thank you. You lost. Game over. Let's move on.
I didn't lose.
You just conceded that Matthew was a goofball. He messed up.
I've been saying that. I've been saying that Matthew is a goofball.
It's not. That's your opinion. That's fine. It's not Christian's fault that he's a quote unquote goofball and he messed up. This is what
but Christian's the one that push it.
We believe. This is our opinion that Matthew did this led by the Spirit of God. The Spirit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Do you believe that Isaiah 7:14 is the actual prophecy?
What do you mean? Isaiah 14 is the actual.
Yeah. So do you think Matthew's actually pulling from an actual prophecy in its actual context to its actual the actual readers?
No, he's pulling from the prophecy, which is directly fulfilled already in the next chapter, and he is saying that it typologically is going to happen to Christ happen to Christ in the future. So he is claiming something about Isaiah's prophecy that perhaps Isaiah didn't even know. That Isaiah was not just prophesying the birth of an actual physical child. He was also prophesying the birth of Messiah. And that's why he uses terms like God with us.
Yeah. So do you go
Matthew perhaps was looking at the names that were given to this child, like Mighty God, and saying, this was maybe to fulfill more than just one thing. That's all.
Yeah, so would you agree that you also go to Isaiah 7:14 and do the same thing as Matthew did? To
I
prove
would
Jesus
not-
is the
I
Messiah,
would-
yes or no?
That's a good question, and I have argued with Christians and begged them to stop trying to do typology. Let Matthew, Mark, and Luke do it. Don't try to read something in the Old Testament and say, oh, look, that's about Jesus. No, only the apostles and Jesus are allowed to do typology. We believe them because we believe they were led of the Spirit of God. But I don't agree with Christians going in the Old Testament trying to do that themselves.
Do you think the Spirit of God will contradict itself?
I don't believe that. No, there are no contradictions in the Bible, period. Zero.
No, I'm saying, do you think the Spirit of God would allow the word to contradict itself?
No, there are no contradictions in the Bible. That these men of God were led by the Spirit of God. There are zero contradictions in the Bible. Zero.
Okay, so when the word God uses is Alma, I'm going to keep pressing that. No.
Dude, this is a dead horse.
No, it's not. Shush.
You don't have
word-
an argument anymore, so you're just going to keep repeating the failed one.
No. The
Okay.
word Alma. I want to ask you, what does the word Alma mean? Can it mean virgin in any context? I just want to know that.
I would have known that, and he's not saying it.
I want to know, does Alma mean virgin in any context?
I have no idea, but Matthew would have known that. He would have known what the word virgin means. He's not using Alma. He's not borrowing that detail from Isaiah.
So you got it wrong then?
Matthew was wrong? Sure.
Yeah, because it's not even a fulfillment.
Listen, I don't have a problem with Orthodox Jews in the 21st century who think they can read Hebrew even though the language is dead. They don't. Matthew was closer to the language than they were, so we will take Matthew's interpretation on everything before theirs. Okay, but I don't have a problem with a 21st century Jew saying Matthew was wrong. He should not have done that. What I have a problem with is people like you and critical scholarship who are dishonest. And you keep saying, Christians do this.
They do, though.
No, they don't.
They're guilty of it. Yes, they are.
They didn't do anything. They just read.
Yeah, you do.
We just read. That's all we do.
No, you don't. Because
We
a lot
just
of Christians go into the prophecies of the Old Testament and say, see, Jesus fulfilled that. See,
And they
Jesus did this. See,
shouldn't do
Jesus did that.
And
Like
they
you just
shouldn't
did.
do- And I
Like
just
you
told you. No, I didn't
just
do
did that with
I
Micah
quoted
too.
Matthew. I quoted Matthew.
You just did that with Micah too.
And I just told you they shouldn't do that. Didn't I just
You
say
just
that?
did that with Micah 5 too.
No. Matthew
you did.
does that with Micah.
You
5.
went no. You went
Can
to
I show
Micah
you
5
where Matthew
2.
does that? Let me show
You
where
went to
Matthew-
Micah 5 2.
Yeah, let me show you.
You went to. I know. I've read the New Testament. But what I'm saying is, you went to
does that, right?
you went
Not
to
me.
you went to Micah 5 2, correct, and quoted the prophecy. Did you
Who
not?
did it first? Did I do it first or Matthew?
You went to the prophecy
Did
and
Matthew
quoted it.
do
Did you not?
first? Right, because Matthew did it. Right.
Okay, cool. And then I asked you a
Did Matthew
question.
do it first? Or
And then
before
I asked you a
did
question.
Matthew do it first before I did?
Of
Yes,
course,
he
Matthew
did.
did it first.
Yes, he
But my
did.
point.
So all we're doing is just reading the text, sir. I wish.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, you did it with Micah 5 2, and then I said to you,
I did not do it with Micah 5:2.
And then I said to you, I asked you a question. I said, were there other babies born in Bethlehem at the time? Were there other babies born in Bethlehem, or was Jesus the only one?
Would have known that. Yet and still, he takes.
But then I asked you, why didn't they fulfill the prophecy?
Let's move on to something else. That's a little bit. You're beating up a dead horse.
I'm not beating up a dead horse. What the thing is, you're not
typology-
understanding the fact. You're missing the fact is that I'm talking context. You're talking cut and paste.
Matthew knew the context, yet still
He didn't know the context.
he
How
didn't know
he read from the Greek Septuagint.
Arguing absurdities now.
I'm
He
saying
didn't
to you,
know-
I said to
he
you
didn't
that he
read
read
one
from the Greek
chapter later.
Septuagint. He
didn't
read from the
read
Greek
one chapter
Septuagint.
later.
He
So-
read from the Greek Septuagint.
The Septuagint didn't have Matthew chapter 8, genius.
He read from the Greek
Did the
Septuagint.
Septuagint have Matthew chapter 8 where the prophecy was literally already fulfilled? Yes.
He
or no?
read the Greek.
Can't answer
Do you know
my
how I
question.
know? Because I've
Can't
read
answer my
the
question.
Greek. I know the
It
word
does-
virgin is in the Greek.
Can you answer my question, sir?
Yeah,
Does
sure.
the Greek Septuagint have Matthew 8 where the prophecy was literally fulfilled? Yes or no?
Matthew 8 what?
In Isaiah 8. Does the Septuagint have in Isaiah 8 where the prophecy
I'll go to it. I'll go to it now.
fulfilled? Yes
I'll go
or
to it
no?
now. I'll go
Yes.
to it now.
And it's
I've got the Septuagint, by the way. You do know I've got it.
You're gonna suggest you missed that, huh?
Yeah, so it does actually.
Oh, it does. Thank you. Let's move on, please.
No. It has Isaiah.
So your argument.
Yeah, but my point is that
Matthew
Christians.
was wrong. That's your point.
Yeah, no.
Let's move on, please.
Yeah, just zip your trap for a second. I'm saying that Matthew gets it wrong. I'm
Cool.
saying that
Thank you for
Christians
being honest.
get it wrong. I'm
Christians
saying that
get it
Jesus
wrong.
is not the Messiah because he doesn't fulfill a single messianic prophecy. This is not a messianic prophecy.
Okay, great.
It's
Jesus
literally
got
about
it wrong.
the context. The context is about Ahaz. The baby that's being born is to Isaiah's wife from Isaiah. There's no other way that Matthew could have literally read it in. He literally just took a passage, cut and pasted it. That's it. Christians are guilty of doing the same thing because they push the same lie. Now, think about this. Imagine you being a
little bit more honest now. I appreciate that. You're very honest, by the way, compared to.
Well, I'm not a liar. But what I'm saying to you is, imagine.
I do want to say you are a very honest interlocutor compared to, by way of comparison, because most atheists will not admit that much, that it is Matthew doing this, it is Jesus doing this, it is Paul doing this, and all we're doing is just reading and saying, yes, we agree.
That's not all you're doing. That's the problem. Is that's all you might, and I'm saying you might be doing that.
Right, me personally, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you're doing it. I'm saying Christians, as in.
I can't speak for all Christians, sir. And I just told you that I denounce that behavior.
Yeah, but I'm saying all Christians do this stuff.
I denounce that behavior. I already.
Whether you denounce it or not, that's what I'm saying to you. They all do it. I'm saying the actual context. I'm saying.
We should not be doing that. We should not be ripping Old Testament stories out of their context unless the apostles did it or Jesus did it.
Well, they rip Psalm 22 out of its context as well.
Yes, all of the typological prophecies are structured in the similar way.
You can say they're typological, but there's no what evidence that you have that they're typological except for the New Testament?
It's obvious.
What evidence do you have that? What evidence do you have? I'll ask you a question. What evidence do you have that Isaiah chapter 7 is typological without using the New Testament?
This is what scholars have determined, and they coined the term typology to describe it. It's not prophecy in a traditional sense. Anyone with two.
I know what you're saying. I'm not an idiot. I know what Second Temple literature is.
It's not. It's looking back in that events that already happened. It's not preaching about what's going to happen. It's looking back in the Old Testament and saying, remember what happened to Jonah when he got swallowed by a whale? Not what happened to Jonah when he was 5. Not what the text records what happened to Jonah when he before he arrived in Nineveh, when he refused to go, when he said no to God, when he rejected God's command. Not that part of the prophecy, not that part of Jonah's story. This part of Jonah's story happened to foreshadow what would happen to Jesus.
And I'm saying no, it doesn't. And nothing in the Old Testament foreshadows Jesus at all, period.
Jonah and the whale.
No.
No? You don't believe Matthew?
Okay. I don't believe Matthew.
You don't believe Jesus when he says that this happened to predict me?
Nope.
What happened to me? Okay.
Nope. Because
at least
there's nowhere that Jesus is found in the Old Testament except for typology.
Okay. According to Jesus, he is typologically, yes.
Yeah, according to Jesus, he can say whatever he wants, but the Hebrew scriptures are the final authority. Are they not?
Do you know why it makes sense that God did it this way?
It doesn't make sense that God did it that way.
To me, it does. Let me tell you.
It does not.
Okay, great. All right, that's your opinion. Let me just give you my opinion now. Now that the debate is over and you lost, let me give you my opinion.
The debate is not over, and I didn't lose.
The debate is over, sir. We can
it's not.
All right, well, let me give you my opinion. I think God wanted to be unique in all of human history. He wanted to, instead of predicting what he would do with a fable, like most books do, they'll give you a fable or an omen, and it's not a real story about a real person. It's just a made up story, but it is a story that is to be fulfilled later by someone else, like a fable, right? Instead of doing that, he causes events to happen in people's lives, like Jonah being swallowed by the whale. He ordains these events to happen in real people's lives, not fake people's lives, but real people's lives. And he takes a portion of their life and he says, this is happening to fulfill my son's coming.
Was Moses a real person?
That's why you don't see.
Was Moses a real person?
Sure. That's why you don't see.
Was Moses a real person?
I just answered sure. That's why. Can I finish my
No,
sentence?
I asked you a question. Is Moses a real person, yes or no?
I said sure. Can I finish my sentence now? Sure.
Is Moses no, you said it fulfills
sure,
real
yes.
people's lives, correct?
I said sure. Yes. Can I finish my point now?
No. I want to ask you a
okay.
question first.
I just answered your question. Yes.
Moses is not a real person. There's no archaeological evidence. No, listen very carefully. There's no archaeological evidence for Moses, period.
All right, let's talk about
how can your point be true that's modeled after real life people if Moses didn't exist? Moses didn't exist. So how can it be based on real life people?
Moses didn't exist?
Nope.
Saying Moses didn't exist?
There's no archaeological evidence that Moses existed.
That's another debate we can have.
No. You said they're using the lives of real people.
Yeah.
Now there's a prophecy.
And now you disagree. So let's have that debate.
Moses is not a real person.
Okay, let's have that debate. Did Moses exist?
Moses is not a real person. There's no archaeological evidence that supports Moses. So that debunks your whole point of it's using real people. Because there's a typology in the Old Testament where Jesus is supposed to be the prophet like Moses. If Moses didn't exist.
Where you go, buddy? You got to prove Moses doesn't exist. What's your evidence Moses doesn't exist? I'll provide you with my argument. What's yours?
There's no archaeological evidence.
No archaeological evidence for Moses' existence?
Nope.
Okay.
So my question so you're saying it's used to so what you're doing is you're saying it's used to real life people lives illustrate Jesus's typological prophecy, right? But the problem is Moses didn't exist. How do you then justify that with the killing of the babies?
Well, again,
in Matthew,
you're trying to argue as if I'm conceding to your argument about Moses not existing because there's no.
You just said God uses real people, and I said to you,
you said Moses is not a real person. I say he is. Let's have that debate.
Irrelevant.
Why are you running from that debate?
I'm not running from that debate. I said there's no archaeological evidence.
There is no archaeological artifact.
Nope.
That is accepted by mainstream scholars as directly naming Moses. However, there are several pieces of evidence in archaeology that reveal that match the historical setting of Moses and the Exodus tradition, the Mephnat stele.
What?
The Mephnat stele. You know what that is?
What is it?
I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly.
What's your source?
For you.
What's it called?
Let me look it up for you. I'm probably not pronouncing it, and I probably can't spell it. It's called the Merneptah stele. It's MERNEPTAH. Okay.
Is it stele? STELE?
Yeah. It proves that it establishes that Israel existed in Canaan. It doesn't mention Moses, however. So
that doesn't prove Moses then.
Right. Moses' name is not going to be found in record books. Why should it be?
Well, so do you know Israelites are actually Canaanites?
What's that?
Israelites were originally Canaanites.
And Hittites and Jebusites, they were all right. God took a remnant. He reformed the land in this way. Are you familiar? You play sports or anything? Or
I do, but that's still your point didn't prove Moses existed.
Well, let me give you a quick analogy as far as the children of Israel.
I don't want your
yeah,
analogy.
they're
I don't
made
want your
up-
analogy. I want
Okay, well,
evidence that Moses
they're
existed.
made up. The children of Israel are made up of all the people groups surrounding Israel. Yes,
They're Canaanites.
all the people groups surrounding Israel, not just the Canaanites. Yes,
They're Canaanites.
they're made up of Moabites as well. Ruth was a Canaanite. Rahab was a Canaanite. Ruth was a Moabite. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Good
believe
job.
the story.
Good job.
If you believe the story of Joshua.
That's how God wants it to be. He wants every nation, tribe, and tongue. He does not discriminate.
You know the battles in Joshua never happened, right?
Because you're black or white. Or
You know the battles in Joshua never happened, right?
Okay. All right. We were talking about Moses, and now you want to talk about Jonah. Okay?
No, but what I'm saying, no. You said, I quote, there's evidence for Moses' existence. I want it.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Right.
Where
I
is
just gave you one.
No, you didn't. It doesn't mention Moses.
You want his name to actually be appearing in some sort of...
Yep.
His name probably was not even Moses.
It was Moshe,
No,
actually.
it was not. His name
Moshe.
was Egyptian. No, he
Moshe.
probably got a new name. He was probably named something else.
Oh, nice dodge there. I want evidence for Moses.
Moses was
You
more
said
than likely not his
you made
real
a claim. You made a claim
There's
and
no way
said
we're
that
gonna
God
find
uses
Moses
real life people.
inscribed. We're not going to find Moses inscribed.
You made a claim and you said that God uses real life people. And I said Moses did not exist. And you said,
And you have no
there's
evidence.
evidence for Moses. And then you give me this and not even once does it mention Moses.
You have no evidence of that.
What?
That Moses didn't exist. You're just arguing that there isn't enough evidence.
No, you just said there was evidence. Where is it?
Well, for one,
that's not evidence.
Moses is an Egyptian name.
Irrelevant.
Okay.
I want some kind of evidence that Moses existed.
Like what? His fingerprints?
You don't have anything. That's why.
Not the 21st century, sir.
You don't have anything. That's why.
The burden of proof for an ancient figure is not as high as it is for one that is contemporary.
You don't have anything. That's why.
You know that, right?
Can you concede the fact that you don't have evidence for Moses?
Well, the biblical name may of itself.
Can you concede the fact that you don't have evidence for Moses?
Into Hebrew. No, I just gave you the evidence.
You didn't.
Yeah, I did. I gave you.
No, you didn't. I'll read out. I'll read out the evidence if you want.
The Semitic.
So I think it's the Mern Eftah stele is a large black granite slab created around about 1205 BCE. It lists the military victories of the Egyptian pharaoh. It is the most famous, containing the oldest mention of Israel outside of the Bible.
Okay, so the argument is that we do not have to find a specific person named Moses, but all we need to do is find, and there are several records, is Egyptians employing and controlling Semitic populations. That's all we need to find. And from that, a Noah-like or a Moses-like figure would emerge.
No, you have to read that in.
Okay.
You have to read that into the evidence. You don't have the evidence.
It's an ancient text, so we don't have to have.
Can you concede?
It's an ancient
text. Can you concede that wasn't evidence for Moses?
For scholars, it is enough.
Can you concede it's not evidence for Moses?
Yes, it is evidence for Moses. Scholars have determined that it is.
No, they don't determine it is.
Text does not
Proper biblical scholars don't determine it is. No, they don't.
Yes, they do. I can name them.
I have a question.
Text does not require contemporary modern standards.
I have a question. Why is there no Egyptian influence in Israel settlements?
Today?
No, I'm saying when apparently they left the captivity.
So why didn't they leave behind their gods? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said why is there no Egyptian influence in the pottery or anything that they have? They lived, I believe it's 10 generations. And not a single Egyptian influence.
You're saying that we haven't found any Egyptian artifacts?
No, I'm saying, why is there no Egyptian influence in Israeli pottery when they left the land of Egypt?
Okay, so there has to be Egyptian influence in their pottery.
Or in some of their, there has to be something. They lived in there for so long.
I actually just finished reading a article on this. There is some Egyptian influence in early Israelite material culture. Google
Where's the article?
You have to Google it.
Yep.
But I don't have the article at hand. But
Where was it?
The short answer is
where was it?
Egyptian pottery and Canaanite Israel pottery were different traditions. Egypt.
No, I want the article you said that you've read.
I have to look that up again. I didn't come prepared to talk about Egyptian pottery.
Do it now, then.
You can Google it now, but Egyptian. The short answer is Egyptian cultural influence does not necessarily mean Egyptian pottery, technology, or styles were adopted wholesale. That's never the case. Even in culturally, when we mix cultures, when you see two cultures mixing in our society, black and white, or Southerners and Northerners, it doesn't necessarily mean that the styles were adopted wholesale. Okay, but we do find some influence, Egyptian influence, like in the style of pottery.
Where's your article?
Again, I would have to research that. Just like
you've lost on the prophecies. You've lost on prophecies. You've lost on Moses.
No, sir. You didn't pull up any article yourself. So we both lost on this. If you don't have articles yourself, right?
I'm pulling it up now.
Oh, you're pulling it up now. What are you going to pull up? The fact that it says that Moses' name isn't inscribed in any artifact.
Well, you just said you had evidence for Moses. You don't have any.
Okay, because his name is not inscribed in the pottery. Okay, all we need to show is that, of course, the Israelites.
Listen very carefully. I've got an overview.
To show is that they were in the land of Canaan. That's all we need to show.
No, you don't. No, you don't, because Israelites are Canaanites.
His name inscribed.
Ready? According to the Hebrew Bible, the Israelites originally as a family in Canaan who migrated to Egypt due to a famine and grew in multitude and were enslaved and later escaped under Moses to return to Canaan. However, modern archaeological and historical data indicate that opinions on this topic differ.
Yes, Egypt had its own ceramic traditions. Canaan had a local pottery tradition which went back to centuries. So we wouldn't necessarily expect them to start manufacturing Egyptian style pottery. Sorry, pottery, like today, if you go to Chinatown, pottery, even though it's in New York City and you have all different types of cultures involved, it's a local source that you get the pottery from. If you go to Chinatown, or if you go to any part of New York where there's an enclave, ethnic enclave, okay, you're still going to get that local flavor. You're still going to get that local spices, food or whatever, that Mexican style, right, or Chinese style. So no, sir, you're grasping for straws. Let's debate something that we can that's actually solid. That's an actual solid argument. Like,
well, one, you gave me evidence. No. You made the claim. That was your claim. You said that God uses real life people as an example for Jesus' typology.
Right. And then you asked me to
you can't prove. Yeah, because Jesus has typology in Moses as well. In the book of Exodus, 18:18.
So you want to show me Moses? You want me to show you Moses being inscribed? No, that's not going to happen. That's not.
There's no evidence for a Moses at all.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I've actually done my research on the matter, and the matter is that there's no. So what you just said is complete and utter fallacy.
And your argument was that the Israelites weren't necessarily Egyptian culturally. That's your argument.
No.
Good job.
My evidence is that my argument is they never came out of Egypt.
Okay. Egyptian, even though we do see Egyptian influence even in their archaeologists found Egyptian scarabs.
Not the way the Bible says.
They found Egyptian.
Not the way the Bible says.
They found Egyptian luxury goods.
Not the way the Bible says.
But that doesn't mean that
A small minority may have came out of Egypt, but I'm talking about the Exodus never happened.
So what we would see, what we would expect to see, and this is what we do see, is that Egyptian style objects are found during the late Bronze era, but they're found in houses that were well off. Does that make sense?
See what I just said?
So, which is few. It's just few.
Did you hear what I just said?
Because rich people aren't few in number, or aren't large in number. They're few in number. So the more
Did you hear what I just said?
The more expensive potteries.
What did I just say?
Were rare.
What did I just say?
You said that there's no evidence for Moses, and because his name is not inscribed in a tablet somewhere.
Yeah, you clearly didn't listen. You need to switch your ears on. I said that there were a minority of Israelites living in Egypt, not like the Exodus, though. There's no evidence for the Exodus.
Okay, so now you want to talk about the Exodus?
No. What I'm saying is no. It's not. It's what I'm saying is.
Failed prophecy.
What I'm saying is. I'm saying prophecy is not in its original context, and I'm saying that.
Good. Matthew knew that. Good.
Matthew didn't. Whether Matthew knew it or not, it still doesn't. No. It still doesn't mean it's fulfilled, though. It still doesn't mean it's fulfilled.
It's not fulfilled how you.
No, it's not fulfilled according to context.
According to context.
It's not fulfilled according to context. Therefore, it could mean anything to anyone.
When they ignored the context purposely.
So I have a question. If someone rode a donkey, if I rode a donkey, does that mean I fulfilled prophecy as well?
Oh, yes. That's another one. Thank you.
Yeah, but listen. If I rode a donkey, does that mean I fulfilled prophecy also?
You would have fulfilled that one typologically, yes.
Well, then I'm the Messiah then.
You rode a donkey?
Yeah. I'm the Messiah then.
Were you also born in Bethlehem?
I don't have to be born in Bethlehem. I just have to ride the donkey.
Oh, no. We're going to need more than just one typological prophecy.
No, that's according to your standard.
Jesus' standard?
No, your standard.
Which I got from Jesus.
Whether you got it from Jesus or not, okay. I'm saying to you...
So Jesus' standard is this. You need more than one typological prophecy.
I rode a donkey.
That's Jesus' standard.
I rode a donkey.
You need more than one. That's Jesus' standard. That's the Bible.
That's not Jesus' standard. You're making it up.
Yes, it is.
You're making it up.
Where does it say that that's Jesus' standard?
Where does it say it's Jesus' standard?
I'm about to tell you.
Where?
Can you shut up long enough to hear? The standard is obvious because...
Listen, you fucking punk, you shut up. You don't tell me to shut up on my live stream. Do you understand that?
You're finished.
What do you mean I'm finished?
Jesus set the precedent by taking more than one typology. So in order to meet that qualification, you need to have more than one typology fulfilled in your life.
No, I don't.
Okay. Then you're setting another precedent. You're setting a new standard.
Nope. I'm doing what Jesus did.
Jesus set a new standard for prophecy, or...
No, he can't set a new standard for prophecy.
Yes, he can.
You can't. No, you cannot have... No, he's... What?
Did my definition of prophecy exist?
Hang on. No, say it again.
Definition... Did Jesus
say it again? Say it again.
Jesus is Yahweh.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. That's why.
Let me ask you this. Did Jesus' definition of prophecy exist before yours, genius?
Yahweh's did.
All right. There you go.
No, Jesus is not Yahweh.
There you go.
Jesus is not Yahweh.
Well, he claimed.
He said that John 17:3 said the Father was the only true God.
Oh, you want to argue a Unitarian now? You want to argue like you're a Unitarian now?
I'm saying Jesus said that the Father is the only true God. I get it. You hail Jesus as the authority because he's God. Can God die?
Jesus is the only true God, and the Father is the only true God.
Okay. Have you ever read Numbers 23:19?
You wanna have a debate on Unitarianism now?
No. We're not
Wait, don't
debating
you have
on.
some more guests to bring up?
No. What I'm saying
Or
is,
is it just
what I'm
me and
saying
you?
is, no. What I'm saying is, I'm not accepting typology as a context.
That's
So
fine.
you're not. You can listen. You can
That's okay.
grandstand. You can grandstand all you want, but the fact of the matter is, the prophecy's out of context.
That's
That makes
fine.
the book. That makes
Matthew
Matthew
knows
wrong.
that.
That makes
knows.
Matthew
Okay.
wrong.
That's
That
fine.
makes Matthew wrong.
I've
That makes
already
Matthew
conceded.
wrong.
Good. Argue like an Orthodox
That makes you wrong
21st
too.
century Jew.
That
Argue
makes you
like
wrong.
a 21st
That makes
century
you wrong.
Jew.
That
And
makes
guess
you
what?
wrong.
The
That makes
Pharisees
you
argue.
wrong.
The Pharisees.
That makes you wrong.
I heard you. The Pharisees argue.
That makes you wrong.
We all hear you. You don't have to keep repeating yourself. It's your channel.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying to you. The prophecy conversation is not in your favor.
You're in charge.
It's not in your favor. The prophecy conversation is not in your
Not
favor.
in Matthew's favor either.
It's not in Matthew's favor. It's not in your
Not
favor.
in Jesus'
So
favor
listen,
either.
how can you grandstand? How can you grandstand that I lost the debate when I'm debating context?
You're debating context when they never attempted to use all of the context. You're
Irrelevant.
propping up
Then
a
it's
straw
wrong.
man.
Then it's
You're
wrong.
propping up a straw man.
It's not a straw man. It
Good,
doesn't
then
go
it's
with
wrong.
Hebrew
If I
context.
never
Therefore,
attempted
it's
to do
out.
something, if I never attempted to swing 3 times,
That's
it's wrong
irrelevant.
if I don't swing 3
That's
times.
irrelevant.
Right?
That's irrelevant. You're
Right?
parading as if
It's wrong
you're parading
if I don't
as if
swing 3 times.
You're
Even though I never
parading-
made the attempt to swing
you're
3 times.
parading as if
I only made the attempt to
you're
swing
parading. You're parading as if the prophecies are
So
right.
someone's gonna prop up the requirement. You have to swing 3 times, or else it's not prophecy.
It has to be according to context, or it's not
Do you
prophecy.
think that's gonna work?
It has to be according to context, or it's not prophecy.
All of the context was not considered.
All
On
the context
purpose.
has to be for
On
prophecy
purpose.
to be fulfilled
I really hate
has to be
beat a dead
all
horse.
of context. That's why I said to you, what does Alma mean? Alma in no sense means virgin, in any sense. So you keep saying, oh, Matthew knew that. He read the Septuagint. He read the Septuagint.
You've lasted longer than most liberals. I do have to give you that. Most liberals would have kicked me by now and given up. And waited for a soccer mom Christian to call in before you bring up these dumb arguments again. Or go over to TikTok and argue with the 18-year-old Christians who just came out of their parents' home. You can't win that debate with me. You can't win the debate that failed prophecy in the Bible with me. It's not going to happen.
It is a failed prophecy.
Not when you prop up a straw man like you.
It's not a straw man.
You need to swing 3 times.
It's not a straw man.
Okay, what is prophecy?
Prophecy is, we've already discussed what prophecy is.
Yeah,
it's
and I'm
a
showing you
foretelling
your
of a
straw
future
man.
event. That's not a future event. That's not a future
I'm showing
event.
you your straw man. Okay,
Isaiah's not a future event.
Jesus and the disciples in this case did not define prophecy as that.
Isaiah is not a future event.
They defined prophecy as events
Isaiah
that
is not
already
a future event.
They defined prophecy as
Isaiah is not a
event.
future event.
Okay,
Isaiah,
that's what I'm
Isaiah
about to
7.
say. That's what I'm about to say. Why are you cutting off? Yes, they define prophecy as looking back at events that already happened. So right then and there, you just demonstrated that your definition of a prophecy is different, and therefore you're propping up your prophecy, you're propping up your definition to knock down ours. That is called a straw man, sir.
Nope.
That is called a straw man argument.
No. So the original prophecy, no. So the original prophecy, no. So the original prophecy in Isaiah 7:14 is about King Ahaz, and it's about Isaiah's son. Correct?
That's not what Matthew concluded. That's not what Jesus concluded.
I don't care what they concluded.
I
don't
that
care.
The original prophecy.
I don't care what they concluded.
It was about good.
I don't care what they concluded. I don't care what they concluded. I don't care what they concluded.
We don't care about your straw
man. Listen. I don't care what they concluded. I know.
That's fine.
I know the context.
Argument
Listen.
is a straw man.
I know the.
If you're not going to respect what
I
they are
know
arguing,
I know
then
the
you're
context.
likely
I know
upping
the
up a straw man.
I know the context of Isaiah
Put the straw
7:14.
man down and fight
I
fair.
know the context of Isaiah 7:14. The context of Isaiah 7:14 is not Jesus at all, period. You cannot read Jesus in there at all. You don't even have a slight indication of Jesus in there. So how do you get Jesus in there? How does Matthew get Jesus in there? You're saying it's typology, typology, typology. There's no indication it's typology. You literally have to make things up. Matthew has to make things up. That's what I'm saying. In the original context, the original prophecy, it is not. And that's what I'm saying. You keep grandstanding like you lost the debate. You lost the debate. Anyone in the comment section can see you're losing. Anyone in the comment section clearly sees you have no idea what you're talking about.
Are there any Christians in the comment section?
Whether there's Christians or not, that's irrelevant.
Look,
of course they're going to agree.
Listen, bring your top scholars. The same argument will be had. This argument, this debate has already been had with Rabbi Singer and Christian evangelicals. You've already lost this debate 10 years ago. The fact that you
lost the debate 10 years ago. Interesting.
The fact that you haven't heard this argument, you're hearing it for the first time, is shocking.
I know what typology is.
Shocking. You couldn't tell me what typology is earlier.
I already know what typology is.
Okay, what is it?
You basically cut and paste prophecy into out of context. You just take words and you just fit them in.
You take events from the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Selected events, not everything.
That's not a selected event though.
What happened to Jonah is one event.
I'm talking about Isaiah 7:14. I'm talking about Isaiah 7:14. I'm talking about Isaiah 7:14.
Good. What happened to Isaiah is one event in his entire life.
I'm talking about Isaiah 7:14.
I just said what happened to Isaiah. Are you listening? Do you have wax in your ears?
Isaiah 7:14.
I am talking about Isaiah 14. Are you listening?
I am listening, but I'm saying I want context.
Mute your mic and listen.
I want context.
What happened to Isaiah 7 in Isaiah 7 is only one part of Isaiah's life.
That's
Isaiah
wild. He's
has
coping.
60 or some odd chapters. Did you not know?
What a cope. What a cope.
Okay. And yet.
What a cope.
Good. You're done.
What a cope.
So.
What a cope. What a guy. What a cope. He grandstands and copes.
You're finished.
How am I finished? I've given you no. I've given you context. I've given you context. I've given you the actual son. I've given you everything surrounding it and the fulfillment.
Matthew gave you the actual son too. Matthew knows the context, and yet he says.
How do you know Matthew knows the? How do you know Matthew knows the context? How do you know Matthew knows the context?
I'm just assuming.
How do you know Matthew knows the context?
If you'd shut up, you'd hear the answer. I'm assuming based on common sense that that's the case.
You don't even have evidence. Oh,
you
that's
have evidence
gold.
that he didn't know?
That is fucking gold.
You have evidence he didn't know Hebrew?
Yeah, I do actually.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. The word Alma is a young woman. That's how I know he didn't know Hebrew.
And Matthew never said Alma meant virgin. He never said that.
Yeah, but he says the word virgin. No, but he says the word virgin.
He is suggesting that there is a greater.
What a cope. What a cope.
Fulfillment. You're done.
What a cope.
You're done.
What a fucking cope.
What else do you need to know about?
What a cope. So let me read you something. Let me read you something.
It is a cope, and it is what Jesus did.
Matthew 1:23.
He was led by
Matthew 1:23. Matthew 1:23. Behold a virgin.
That's right.
It's not the right word.
He never meant.
You asked me. You just asked me. You just asked me. How do I know Matthew didn't? You just asked me. How do I know Matthew didn't know Hebrew? Well, there's your answer.
Oh, that's your answer. That proves it. Even though he purposely is doing this, that proves it.
He didn't know Hebrew then. He didn't know Hebrew then.
So if I purposely spell a word wrong in order to test my students, and I do this often, I'll spell a word wrong on the board to test whether or not they're paying attention to what they're reading. If I purposely do that, you walk into my classroom, Mr. Superintendent, you're contradicting English. No, I'm not, idiot. I'm purposely doing this to prove a point. That's
What's
what
the point?
Matthew is doing.
What's the point?
The point Matthew is making is that real events happened, although not in a one-to-one correspondence.
It is a one-to-one correspondence.
And not
Isaiah is a one-to-one correspondence.
No, it's not. That's your
Isaiah is a
straw man.
one-to-one correspondence.
That's your straw man.
Isaiah is a one-to-one correspondence.
Matthew is saying
Isaiah 7:14 is a one-to-one correspondence.
Yeah, I'm talking about Matthew.
I'm talking
about Matthew referring to Jesus fulfilling.
I don't care what Matthew's referring to. I'm talking about Isaiah.
So
you keep grandstanding, going,
want to straw man the argument.
The debate's over. The debate's over.
You want to straw man the argument. You're done.
It's not. I'm not done.
You're finished. Moved on.
You still no. You still haven't. You still haven't accepted the fact that You still haven't accepted the fact that Isaiah is a one-to-one. It's clear Isaiah is a one-to-one from Isaiah 14 to Isaiah 8:3, and it's also to Ahaz, and there's no Jesus at all.
Yeah. So Matthew deliberately.
Is it? I don't care whether he deliberately or not. Is it to Ahaz or not?
You're done, buddy.
Is it to Ahaz or not?
Now,
is the prophecy to Ahaz or not? Is the prophecy to Ahaz or not?
No, I want to predict the future now.
Is the prophecy to?
I want to predict.
Listen, you'll answer the question. You'll stop dodging and you'll answer the question. Is the prophecy to?
Yes, I answered the question. I already answered the question. I already answered the question. You couldn't hear me because you had me muted. So I want to prophesy now. You're going to get.
I want the answer.
You're going to get upset. I answered you. Yes.
I want the answer.
I just answered you. Yes.
Okay, so stop talking.
Okay. All right. So
stop talking.
You're going to get.
I told you to stop talking. All right, take it easy. Love you all so much, and yeah, we'll do it again.